Hello everybody, welcome to HTML5 and CSS. This is the first running of this course, so I'm making this screencast so you can see where everything is and what you can do each week. So when you get to the course, you'll see announcements. You can click on lessons. Here's our syllabus. Let's go over that real quick. Inside here, you'll see that this course is pretty simple. It's an entry-level HTML courses. It's taught with the assumption that you have zero experience. There's a required textbook, HTML and CSS Design and Build Websites by John Duckett. By the end of the course, we hope to get you very comfortable with HTML and CSS technologies. In order to build a static website, you should be able to do that. You have to be able to code HTML and CSS to meet the current Worldwide Web Consortium standards, that's the W3C, and be able to code so that you can semantically communicate with search engines and crawlers that may come to your website. You also will need to be able to build HTML pages for handicap accessibility, which we'll get into. So it's an 8-week course. There is a final project due at the end. There are 7 assignments, no quizzes. Each assignment is 10 points, and total points are 100. So my lateness policy is I deduct 1 point per day up to a week. If you need any extension, anything like that, just let me know. Just communicate. My communication policy, there's kdsecret@gmail. I also do Google Hangouts for people who need help. Just let me know. We can do it privately or in group sessions. But just basically dive in and let me know when you have issues. All right. Anyway, so all of our content will be in the lesson folders. So each week is one lesson. So this week is Introduction, HTML Structure, and How to Create Lists. And the book reading is chapters 1 through 3. So when we get to the lesson, there'll be a lesson overview, which is right here. And it'll tell you that these are our topics, these are our readings. And there's an assignment. So there's going to be an assignment every week, as you know. And this is the lecture. There will be screencasts in further lessons as we get closer to the ability to actual code something. So here you see an attached HTML PDF, which it shows the lecture itself. But the intro to HTML will open up Adobe Presenter and present the content. So as we get through here,
HTML5 and CSS.
As we get further, here's for this week only. You can have an introduction. It would be important to create a network here. Let's go back to the lesson itself. All assignments are in the lesson folders. So when you get to, here's an example of an activity, and once you have your download, it should open up and you should see an experiment. And inside this experiment you see a starter kit, and I treat it as if you were in class. So this starter is nothing more than an activity for you to self-pace and work yourself to experiment. So this starter is nothing more than an HTML file. And let me go back to our lesson here. So this is lesson 1, and we were in the starter right here. So the starter, it's experiment, excuse me. I'm going to go to my downloads. There's my downloads, window downloads. There we go. So inside here you'll see a document that says the assignment, which is basically to recreate this HTML based on what you learned. So I'm going to open up this. This is the content for you. And your job is to make your page look like this. So we have a header up here, a list, another list, and an image, and then a link. So this is does not need to be submitted. This is simply an activity as if we were in class. So you'll get your instructions and a starter for the HTML for that. Again, you do not have to submit that. It's just an activity. So when you get to these, like this section right here, you can hit the arrow on the right and you can see the content inside here. For example, this shows how browsers render off a server and how the server IP address works. So if you get something like this is an HTML shell, and you see it opens in the other window. And what I'm doing is merely giving you example code from the course. So what you can do is save page as, and this is an HTML file. And when you do that, let me open this up. You can see my desktop is quite a mess. Dealing with a lot of code stuff. So when you do this, you can open it up in your favorite text editor, which we'll discuss. So this is Sublime, it's my favorite text editor, and this is the HTML code. So the concept would be to make changes to this code and see what happens. I have headers here. That's one way to learn from my example code. Another way is to come in here like this and Control-click on a Mac or Control-click on a browser, on a PC, and you will see this come up, and you can see the source code underneath. So when I highlight Hello Paragraph, for example, and I right-click, I inspect that element, you can see it's a p tag. And that p tag is inside a UL tag, which is an unordered list. So that's how we can work together, and we can share code and do whatever we need. You'll also see week 1, which has all the books, the book code. So when this downloads, it'll open up, and this is all the book code from chapters 1, 2, and 3. And I go over it pretty much in depth in our lectures. So I just need you to be able to open this up in a browser and a text editor at the same time to see how the browser is rendering each page. And when I go back to lesson 1, when you're ready to do your homework, all you have to do, let me open this up a little bit, is read the homework assignment. If you do not see the homework assignment, just look on the right and you should see a arrow and it will open up. So when I click on this, it'll tell you what to do, and when you're ready to submit, just take your file, browse to your computer, submit it, add any comments you need, and hit submit, and your homework will be corrected usually within 72 hours. So this week also there's a requirement to create a CodePen account. So what I want you to do is experiment with that. And the reason for that is because for your portfolio, for getting a job, you would need some CodePens generally. Employers like it. This, by the way, is 1 through 3, not chapter 13. Excuse the problem on this. But this is a very easy assignment this week, just to get you acclimated with the course. But when you go into the lesson folders, I would like it if you introduced yourself here. There's an introduction. But each week I'll have more for you. If you ever want to reach the discussion boards here, you can see that there's introductions and questions for each week of content delivery, and that's something where I can come in. Let's say it's question 1. I can subscribe to it. You can subscribe to it, and then when you create a question, I'll get an email, and then I can go in and answer your question. So don't be afraid to do that. You can always reach me at kdseeker@gmail.com, and welcome to the course. Please don't be a stranger.